We're back on the SportsMax Zone, starting off the segment with cricket. At stumps on day 3 of the first Wisden Test at the Aegis Bowl in Southampton, hosts England reached 15 without loss in their second innings, trailing the West Indies by 99 runs. The Windies, who resumed day 3 on 57 for 1, were eventually dismissed for 318. Craig Brathwaite top scored with 65, Shane Dorich made 61, and Roston Chase contributed 47. Captain Ben Stokes was the pick of the England bowlers, taking 4 for 49. Scores in the match heading into day 4, England 204 and 15 without loss, the West Indies 318. Speaking at the end of the day's play, the Windies opener Craig Brathwaite said he was relieved to have scored his first half century in 22 innings.
It's been a while, so thankful. I just want to keep growing from strength to strength. I have a job to do, very important job here, so I'm just going to focus on doing our job to the best of my ability. Here in 2017, and then playing some county games, the ball tends to do, throughout the day, the ball will tend to do something. So I think playing the ball as late as possible for me is always key. Whether new ball or old ball, I think is a place we're never in a sense. So, I prefer, I don't really like to not play the ball late, even not in England. That's something I really work hard at doing, but especially here, I think playing it late is the key, to be honest.
So Craig Brathwaite back in the run somewhat, although he would have been disappointed. I think that he didn't go on to probably get 100 in this game. Our correspondent David Brooke in England following the action, as is Tino Best, both now joining us. We heard some opening comments from Tino. David, your thoughts on what happened today, and is the 318 total by the West Indies satisfying, or would you say Mariah and Tino Best are correct that they should have gotten more?
Well, you can always get more, I guess, but I'm satisfied. I think from a West Indies point of view, I'd like to give you one statistic, which I think is significant. West Indies have never lost a test match when they've had a first innings lead of over 100, and that's what they achieved today. They've never lost a test match when they've got a first innings lead of over 100. And I think you have to say, yeah, you can say that players should have gone on, scored a century, whatever, but the contributions of Roston Chase and Craig Brathwaite, and my man of the day was Shane Dorich. I thought his innings was a gem of an innings. He looked great from the moment he came in and gave a bit of impetus to it, and that partnership of 81 with Roston Chase, potentially has put the match out of England's reach. Of course, England are going to fight back hard, but I think West Indies should be satisfied with the overall team performance. Look at Roston Chase, 14 runs between lunch and tea, but he stayed there and he had his role to play. And I thought West Indies showed a lot of determination and patience and discipline today.
Yeah. How threatening was the England bowling attack today? The skipper came up with 4 wickets, but the fact that the West Indies batting wasn't able to flourish in the way that some of the fans would have wanted would suggest that the England bowling was testing.
Well, I think Jimmy Anderson was testing as always, and the skipper, as you say, but there has to be some disappointment about the performance of the 2 fast guns, Mark Wood and Jofra Archer. And as you said in your news item just before, the story of the day really is Stuart Broad and how he feels about being left out. He gave that dramatic interview where he said disappointed, angered, gutted. He wasn't there, and I think they missed him. The 2 pacemen fell short, and it was left to the skipper, who had to do what Jason Holder in a way had done in the England first innings, is put himself on and make that vital breakthrough. So this pitch was supposed to be one conducive to pace, but it's actually been, just paced off a ball with a lot of movement that seems to have been the winning combination.
Tino, do you think the West Indies, they lost their wickets too easily based on what you saw?
Yeah, for sure. I thought that in dismissal of Shea Hope was very soft, and no one goes there to get out, don't get me wrong, but sometimes, Blackwood was just so irresponsible, and I just thought at that point in time that we needed that stability right there and then, and I just thought that even if he curved himself for a little bit, I think that he could have just tried to build an innings. We know that he can strike the ball really cleanly, but I just think he burned up. Do you want to play Test cricket or do you want to play T20 cricket? I think that's what Jermaine Blackwood really needs to look himself in the mirror and ask himself that.
Tino, also, I want you to tell us, your take on Shane Dowrich, how he batted today. A youngster, obviously, wanting to maintain his spot in the Test squad. How did you think he went on today?
I thought he batted beautifully. He really fought because the situation is like, a cat and mouse.
Yeah.
I remember he was playing cat and mouse for Dinesh Ramding, trying to get Ramding's spot. And he put a lot of pressure on Ramding. He finally got Ramding's spot. Now you got Young De Silva, who started off the practice games well. Even though the bowlers might not be up to that intensity, he shows that he wants Shane Dowrich's position, and Shane has to come good. And today I thought he bat with a lot of character. He bat with a lot of maturity, and he leaves the ball beautifully. And I thought it was a nice little crafty innings in the middle right there. It was well put together.
David, based on the playing conditions today, I saw we got a bit of sunlight, and of course we head into tomorrow. England is batting. Would you agree that West Indies need to come out and of course take a couple wickets in order to break that sort of momentum that England would have? I'm sure they feel a bit confident now.
Well, certainly Gabriel and Roach asked some questions in that last few overs. They got more movement than the England bowlers did today. So I think, England are going to have their work cut out. They've got to score at least 300 to get back in this game. And based on their first innings performance, you wouldn't bet on that. West Indies have actually become the bookmakers' favourites now, having not been given a chance before the game started. So I think... the West Indies performance has set themselves up with some early breakthroughs tomorrow, and I think England will struggle.
Yeah. David, I'm not too sure if you are aware of the Twitter war that erupted today with the comments of Tino Best supporting Stuart Broad and his disappointment of not being in this first test, and conversely speaking about Jofra Archer's less than impressive performance so far in this test match. We'll get Tino to expand on what he had said at the top of the show, but your thoughts on that, and just expanding on what you mentioned earlier on about Stuart Broad's anger and gutted he said he is about not being in this test match.
Well, not for the first time. I totally agree with Tino. I think it's great to have a bowler who's left out expressing himself honestly about what it means to him. He said he was angry, frustrated, gutted, disappointed, all those things. He was surprised at how emotional he was. But then he said he was pleased he felt like that, because it still means that the fire's burning in him. If he hadn't felt like that, then he might have been thinking of other thoughts about what he's going to do in the future. But he still wants to play. He still should be playing. I'm absolutely at one with Tino on that.
Yeah, and the fact is, Jofra Archer responded to Tino's comment on Twitter, and Tino at the top of the show suggested that Archer should be concentrating on his game and not responding to him, Tino Best, and his opinions. We'll get Tino in a moment, but just your quick take on that.
Well, it's great the way that Tino manages to affect the outcome of a match even when he's not in the same country. He's making his impact, making his presence known. Jofra, of course Jofra shouldn't have responded to that. He's getting distracted from his task. Tino's playing some mind games there.
Yeah.
Or, I just want to jump in here. Tino, I hope you didn't fuel him and then he comes tomorrow and it does the opposite.
Guys, either or. I'm a pundit. That's what pundit's supposed to do. He's supposed to see certain things and critique them. I honestly believe that Stuart Broad should have get the nod either ahead of him. I think it should have been Stuart Broad and two other pacers, personally. So I do agree with Stuart Broad and all he's playing. I mean, what he's saying. And then when you're a 12th man, Lance and Mariah and Mr. Brooks, and you sit down on the bench, and you see the effort that other guys are not putting in, it makes you angry. And I totally agree with Stuart Broad. The way that Jofra Archer bowled today was not what we started off seeing before. And people don't want to speak the truth. Yes, he has the elbow injury, but then again, you think that when you speak about cricket, you're attacking people personally. Yeah. So I don't attack anyone personally. I'm talking about what I see. If a guy says to me, I don't think you were the best bowler in the world, I say, okay, that's your opinion. But I know I was the greatest, and there's nobody that can tell me I'm not the greatest because they believe in me. No, if I make a comment about something that I'm watching on TV while I'm retired for the last 5 or 6 years, and you are getting affected by that, it goes to show me your mindset. Are you really concentrating? Are you really hungry to keep your place above Stuart Broad. So that's something that he has to ask himself, Lance and Maria and Mr. Brooks. Yeah. It is foolishness. He should not be replying to me.
Yeah, but Tino, let's go back a couple of days at the start of the match. Did you at that point feel that Stuart Broad was hard done by? Because you didn't say that. And I think part of what is triggering your comment now is because you don't think Jofra showed the level of commitment and hunger that you probably expected from him.
Absolutely, Lance. I mean, all right, Stuart Broad, when I look at it, I don't really like to get too much of the final 11 of the English 11. I more like to concentrate on my boys, right? But I do understand that Broad have been bowling the best in the team. And then when you see somebody get dropped with 400 and plus test wickets, Lance, for heaven's sake, if you're Jofra Archer, you know that you're in the team. You know that you're actually, even though you're English, you're West Indian. You got to make sure that every time you cross that line, you give 150% at every opportunity. Don't be like Chris Jordan and get discarded away and just playing limited overs cricket. You're a much better cricketer than that. I think you should be concentrating and giving every single ounce of energy at every single time to bowl fast and to get wickets for your adopted nation. And that is my honest opinion.
Yeah. So to be clear then, when the team was named, you weren't as strident in your view that Broad was hard done by as you are now because of the effort that you're seeing from some of the players who played ahead of him.
No, I always said that it was unfair. I mean, I had an take on social media.
Yes.
I would have discussed this with my cricket friends. And Brian Lara was actually training with me. Brian Lara trained with me every day. And me and Brian was in the gym, we were discussing the cricket. And we were actually dumbfounded that Stuart Broad wasn't playing. So even though I might not tweet it or put it in the social domain, does not mean that I was not discussing it and I was not upset. There's some things that you might not want to say, but no, I see Broad come out, so I can say, okay, let me then express my views by what I'm seeing from Jofra Archer, because he's in the dressing room and he's seen everything that's happened. You got to give a better account of yourself when you're in the position that you are in. Simple.
Yeah, so, well, I'm going to ask David now to comment on the fact that, Archer took the time out to respond to you, Tino. He says, with all this knowledge, how are you not a coach yet? David, was this too much? Was this called for, especially now during a test?
I think it's a poor response from Jofra. He should be paying Tino a lot more respect than that. I say Tino's a commentator. He's been there and done it. He's just observing what he's seen. And, you really can't, as a player, start responding in a tit-for-tat way to constructive criticism that you get. I mean, it's taking your eye off the ball. I'm sure that the English cricket ball won't be too happy with him doing that. It's another distraction, and it's putting more pressure on himself, if anything. I mean, he's not responsible. Archer's not responsible for the fact that he's been preferred to Broad. I think that was a decision that was in many ways influenced by the captain for this match, Ben Stokes. I think Stokes wanted both Wood and Archer to play. Personally, I'd have gone in with Broad and Wokes because I don't think that we're going to blast out the West Indies. And if you remember, this is the second time in 2 years that they've made the same mistake. England selectors in the first test of a series did the same at Bridgetown at Kensington Oval when they left Stuart Broad out there. And no wonder it's a talking point. And no, I don't think that Jofra should have responded to Tino's points.
David, as usual, always a pleasure talking to you. Of course, when we link up on Monday, we'll have a lot to be talking about this test match. And as we go to the break, a reminder to catch a special edition of the Line and Length programme on Monday, where host Barry Wilkinson reflects on the life of Sir Everton Weekes. That will be Monday evening, 7:30, 8:30 Eastern Caribbean time. And that will be on SportsMax. Of course, Sir Everton de Courcy Weekes died last week, Wednesday, in Barbados at the age of 95. Back with more on The Zone after this.
And from that day, I remember Everton very much so. Because after a while, we got very close together. And he started with the first person to call me Soapbox.
The Right Excellence Garfield Sobers leads off the program remembering Sir Everton Weekes, a tribute to the cricketing icon who died at the age of 95 on July 1st. Join Line and Length for a regional broadcast this Monday at 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time, 8:30 Eastern Caribbean. with other tributes from Sir Gordon Greenidge, Sir Everton's son David Murray, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, from India Sunil Gavaskar, and other leading individuals whose lives he impacted. Remembering Sir Everton Weeks, this Monday at 7:30 Jamaica time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time on SportsMax.